Give me a minute and let's talk about this IL-76 that was taken out the other day. Um, Nobody is taking credit for it, although the Ukrainians seem to implicitly make some comments that sort of indicated that they had taken it out. And they have every reason to, right? It's a $50 million aircraft. It's a cargo plane, the IL-76. It's like an American C-130. And they're going to be really important to the Russians. They are important to the Russians as it is, but they're going to be increasingly important once the siege of Crimea begins. Because without bridges and roads, you're going to be depending on these cargo planes to resupply the peninsula. So ever since back in August, when they hit the Pskov Air Force Base and took out 5 of these babies, they have been a major target. And there's every reason to believe that the Ukrainians would have taken this one out. Now, the wrinkle in this is that the Russians came out with this story that the cargo plane was loaded with prisoners, POWs. Well, that seems incredibly unlikely for a number of reasons. The manifests with the lists of names of who was supposed to be on board this plane, at least 30% of the Ukrainians listed are POWs who have already been remanded to Ukraine. They're home. The numbers don't match. There's supposed to be 60 on board, but all of the current negotiations are for swaps of about 100, 190. Then there's this. This is the flight path for this airplane. And you can see it here, right? Going through the Middle East. Now, why on earth would you have a plane loaded with POWs flying through the Middle East? And what exactly was it doing down there in the Middle East? Well, if you take a look here, right? It's a little bit hard to tell on this map, but see Cairo there? There's a stop in Cairo. Now, what was it doing in Cairo? Well, the Russians are desperate for air defense, and they have been trying to buy back air defenses from people that they've sold them to in the past. The Egyptians have purchased a number of S-300 missile systems. It is believed that this plane was on a trip to Egypt to pick up a recently sold back, bought back, Indian giver, whatever. They got back one of their S-300s from the Egyptians, and it was on this plane. So apparently, to hide their complete incompetence at losing yet another IL-76 and yet another irreplaceable S-300 missile system, they decided to tell the lie that the plane was full of POWs and the Ukrainians shot it down themselves, knowing that it was full of POWs, which is nonsense of the first order. These guys called an emergency UN Security Council meeting over this. Why would they do that? They don't care about the POWs in their care. Why would they care about some... It doesn't make sense. It makes no sense until you realize what was probably really at stake here. And then all of a sudden, the hysterics from Moscow make a whole lot of sense. So, to the best of my knowledge, guys, it is highly unlikely that there were any POWs on this plane. We await and welcome an international investigation, which we know the Russians will not cooperate in. Make it a great day.